Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this morning's professional development session on Zoom recording, settings and management. One of the best things about Zoom is that it does have a high quality video and audio recorder built into it. One that's improved vastly over the years since Zoom came out in 2012. It's hard to believe it's a 10-year-old product now. And the original recordings were a bit grainy, and the sound especially was not great. But they've come a long way with that. The recorder is competitive in quality with most any screen and video recorders that you can use on computers these days. And it's, as we'll see, it's dirt simple to operate. And the results are well worth it. Being able to record your Zoom class meetings or other types of meetings, help sessions, study sessions, things like that, and then post them online for your students or your colleagues. You may be using Zoom in a non-academic manner, which is perfectly fine with our Zoom contract. And the ability to capture what happens in high quality video and audio and then share it with with anything from your class to the world, depending on the nature of the recording and how appropriate that is one of Zoom's superpowers. And we're going to talk about that capability today, how to record in Zoom, what your capabilities and limitations are, how you can control what is recorded and what your Zoom recording looks like by modifying the recording settings in Zoom, and how to manage your recordings once you get them. They are fair-sized files, particularly if you're recording like a 2-hour seminar like I'm doing right now. These files get pretty good size. To manage that so that you don't run out of storage at the wrong place in the wrong time, and that while maintaining access and secure backups of your recordings is the last part of the seminar today. So let's go ahead and get started here. What are our fundamental options in recording Zoom sessions? You can record any Zoom session, and anything, if you record, anything that happens in the Zoom session is recorded. It records your video feed. It records your shared screens. It records all audio, both what you as the host say or play or whatever, and whatever your attendees say. So it's a comprehensive recording, and someone watching the recording gets an experience very comparable to what they would have gotten if they were live in the meeting. There are two modes of recording in Zoom that you can choose between. There's cloud recording. Whoop. I need to do that. There's cloud recording. Get my annotation tool out here. Sorry. There we go. Cloud recording and local recording. Recording to your local computer. Sorry, my drawing is challenged. The default in our SDCCD Zoom accounts is to record to the cloud, the Zoom cloud. That means the recording goes across the internet, goes to the servers owned by Zoom, where it's stored, processed, stored, it's captioned. The Zoom cloud captions your recordings automatically so that they're legally accessible to students with disabilities or anyone who just needs the captions for whatever reason. It's the simplest option for you. Zoom takes care of pretty much everything for you. If you record to the Zoom cloud, Zoom will send you an email when the cloud recording is ready. And then it will send you another email when the captions are ready, because the recording is available before the captions. Not long enough to make a difference, but Zoom does keep you posted automatically on the status of your recording. And it sends you the link to the recording in an email. There are ways you can go in and get the link in other ways as well, but you don't have to. So cloud recording in Zoom is just easy and near automatic. The only thing you have to remember to do is press record at the beginning of the session. I'd like to tell you that I've always remembered that. It is the one of the main failures in Zoom recording is the human element of the system, the host forgetting to punch record at the beginning of the system, and beginning of the meeting, and I've sure done that a few times myself. You can, in fact, set Zoom up to record all of your meetings automatically. Whether you want to do that is questionable, because you tend to get things recorded that maybe you were just as soon hadn't been recorded. It can make it necessary to edit your Zoom recordings before using them, to chop off the beginning of the session where everybody's just chatting with one another and so on. So my general mode of operation is to do my very best to remember to punch record, and to ask the audience to remind me if I forget. And it usually, the vast majority of the time, that works. But the process, the cloud recording process, is by far the simplest way to record your Zoom sessions. And the results are very good. If there is a drawback to that, it is that the district has a finite amount of space available to us for cloud recording, storing cloud recordings and serving them up to students. And that is, sooner or later, we're going to have to clean some of our older recordings off. And at some point, if you have a bunch of cloud recordings up there, you may be getting emails from district IT saying, well, we're running out of space in our Zoom clouds, contracted Zoom cloud storage. We're going to have to clean some of that off. And we'll talk about how you can do that today and back up your recordings so that you don't lose them. In an extreme circumstance, it may even be necessary for the Zoom administrators to go in and perhaps delete everything older than a certain number of months in order to restore enough storage to move forward. That's never happened. We were threatened with it once before our Zoom accounts were migrated into the district's management. Used to be all Confer Zoom accounts were managed centrally at the state chancellor's office or through an organ of the state chancellor's office. Now that management has been devolved on the individual districts, and our IT department is responsible for maintaining that. And we did once get a nastygram from the state saying that they were going to delete anything older than a certain number of months and warning us to do something about it. But people responded to the warning so well that they never actually had to do that. I don't know if that wonderful outcome will repeat itself in the future, though. So once you put a recording in the Zoom cloud, there's some possibility that at some point you may have to download it and back it up on your local computer and then delete it from the Zoom cloud in order to save space, which is a minor hassle. The only danger really would be forgetting to do that and losing a recording that you wanted to keep, perhaps. The other option, one that I'm availing myself of right now, is to record to your local computer. To have the recording, instead of having the recording continuously sent up to the Zoom servers as you're running the meeting and as you're recording, Zoom records the video to a buffer, a local storage area on your hard drive on your computer or on your mobile device. You can also record from mobile devices, but generally not as practical, particularly for Zoom class meetings. Yes, Yusra.
Yes. Can we do the two together or no? One
No.
or the other?
One or the other.
Oh, okay.
At
Thank you.
You can do one for one meeting and the other for another meeting, but you can't do both together for the same meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
interesting question. Yeah. So, recording to your local computer ends up with a video file, among actually several files, but among them a video file containing your sound recording as well, that is stored on your local computer. The way that works is the recording is recorded to a temporary file on your hard drive, and when you end the meeting, it's automatically compressed or rendered from that temporary recording to a highly compressed video, but still high quality video and audio file that's stored on your local hard drive automatically. There's by default, if you record to your local computer, excuse me, the recordings are placed in your Documents folder on PC or Mac in a subfolder called Zoom. And so you can always find them in the same place. The whole process is a little bit more complicated than cloud recording. That's a good question, Michio. We'll get to that in a minute. You get higher quality video and audio from your Zoom recording if you record to the local computer. That's often not really that big a deal because the quality of the cloud recordings is still quite good. But it is slightly better. And if you are like recording screens like I'm doing right now with PowerPoint slides, probably no problem. But in a minute, I'm going to be showing you some actual computer screens. And if there's small print on the screens and so on, that video quality gets to be very critical. And you get slightly better results if you record to your local computer. You also get somewhat better audio, which is really quite important also. You might say, well, as long as I understand what they're saying, the audio is not that important. But it really is. People will put up with fuzzy video, but they won't put up with bad audio. It's so irritating to listen to that it's very easy to make a recording unwatchable simply because of bad audio. With recording the local computer, you get slightly better audio as well. Yes, Anthony.
Hey, Dave. So I'm just wondering, so if I had, let's say, a slightly less performing computer in terms of the hardware and the graphics card, et cetera, do you think that it might be better to use the cloud for that?
No, the load on the computer is going to be pretty comparable either way.
Gotcha. Okay, even for the, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. But on the other hand, an older, slower computer may also have less hard drive space. And these files, we had a question, Michio had a question, these files are quite good sized. Particularly if you're talking about recording an entire 2 hour class session like I'm doing here. Those files get pretty good size. So you do need reasonable
Yeah, space or
reasonable amount of
storage or,
space.
yeah.
Exactly.
Cool, thank you, Dave.
It is possible also that if the machine is too marginal that you're originating from, that your recordings may suffer from certain defects. Like the most common one is a loss of synchronization between the video and the audio, which is extremely irritating. If you've got somebody on screen talking and what they're saying is not matching up with their lips, it's really distracting. So, but that's something you just have to try to find out. Zoom, on the other hand, is very efficient in terms of its use of computer central processor unit and storage resources. So it would have to be a very compromised or very old and slow machine that would not be able to record effectively in Zoom. Another advantage to local recording is that you get a video file on your local computer right away that you can edit before you post it online if you need to. Editing is something you don't really want to do any more of than you have to make a recording useful. But there are times when it is necessary. Like if there's material early on in recording that's really not germane to the class session and so on, you may want to cut that out. Or you may drop something on your foot and say one of the 7 words you can't use on TV, as George Carlin used to enumerate. We won't list those. But something may happen in the meeting that you really don't want to share with people who watch the recording. You may need to cut that out. You may need to tighten the recording up. There may be some dead space in the recording where people don't really need to see and wait through that. So it's not uncommon to need to edit a Zoom recording, and it's easier if you record to the local computer. It's not impossible to edit your recordings if you send them to the cloud, but you add a couple of steps to the project if you record to the cloud initially. You have to download the recording from the cloud, which you can always do, and then drop it into a video editor, edit it, and then upload it back to an online hosting service. But you can't upload it back to the Zoom cloud. The only way to get a recording on the Zoom cloud at this point in time is to record a live session to the cloud while it's happening. You can't upload a recording to the Zoom cloud later. So that means you've got the added necessity of picking out a video hosting service that doesn't cost you any money and uploading the edited file back to that. Notably, Canvas Studio or YouTube are things that are available to us for free. YouTube's available to everyone for free. Canvas Studio is something we get by virtue of having accounts on our Canvas learning management system. And those are both excellent hosting services, every bit as good as the Zoom cloud, better in some respects. But it's extra time and effort on your part. If you're planning on ending up with your stuff, your recordings on Canvas Studio or YouTube, you're probably ahead of the game just recording to your local computer to start with, because you cut out a couple of steps and you get higher quality recordings. Another issue I didn't put down here is just loss of control. If you record directly to the Zoom cloud, you're immediately putting your recordings in someone else's hands. This is not a big, it really shouldn't be a big deal, but it bothers me a little bit. I'm an old video guy. I've been doing instructional video for many decades. And videographer, oh, I wouldn't dignify myself with that title, but someone who makes videos really kind of hates to lose control of their original content. With local recording, I have complete control over what happens to that video and where I put it. Once I put it online, I lose some of that, but I still have more control than I do if I send to the Zoom cloud. So that's just kind of an emotional thing for me and for people who create a lot of video. So how does all this play out in practice? Well, recording in Zoom is super simple. All you got to do is, if you're the host, is to click on the record button in the Zoom menus at the bottom of the screen. If you click on that button and it just starts recording, you're recording to the Zoom cloud. And that's the default arrangement on our SDCCD Zoom accounts. If you just use that account right out of the box and click on that record button and it starts recording right away, you're sending it to the Zoom cloud. In order to get the option to record on your computer, you have to activate that in your Zoom settings. We're going to see how to do that here. You'll know if that's activated in your account or not, because in that event, when you click on the record button, you get a little menu like you see here in this graphic that gives you the option to record either on your local computer, this computer, or record to the cloud. And you just pick the one you want. So let's pull up our Zoom recording sessions. We do that by going to the Zoom website. It's zoom.us. That's the easiest URL in the world to remember. There's no real need to have that bookmarked anywhere. You just go to the location line of your web browser, any web browser will do, and type zoom.us. Press enter, you go to the Zoom website. I'm already logged in. Let me log out here and show the process. This is what the Zoom website looks like when you get there. Actually, this part of it will change with advertising, but this part, the functional part of the website, this bar right here, will remain the same. And to access your Zoom account settings, recording settings, or any other settings, you click the sign in button and you sign in with the email address and password associated with your SDCCD Zoom account. For you, that will almost certainly be your district email address, your sdccd.edu email address. Mine's different because of history I have with both Zoom and with CCC Confer, the state video conferencing organ. So, but yours would be your district email address almost certainly, and whatever password was associated with your account when you created it, or when it was created for you, I should say. Everyone at the district should have a so-called Zoom Pro level account, a paid level account, which has capabilities that you need if you're going to use Zoom for classwork and for professional meetings. Those accounts are provided to you at no charge by a grant from the State Chancellor's Office and a contract between the California community colleges and Zoom. If you do not have such an account, How would you know? Well, if you're, for instance, if your meetings are being limited to 40 minutes at a time, you don't have a Zoom Pro account. You have a free Zoom account, which is a great deal, but it's not really functional enough for professional use. If you're having any kind of problems like that, or if you just don't have a Zoom account or don't know if you have a Zoom, SDCCD Zoom Pro account, you can contact the IT help desk, the Information Technology Help Desk, at ithelp@sdccd.edu, and they will investigate the situation. And if you don't have an account, they'll make you one and send you the information you need to access it. Assuming that's happened, we'll sign in here. And we have two places that we go here on the Zoom website to access our Zoom settings. One,
Is
go ahead.
little, Dave. Your screen is small. Maybe it's me.
My bad. I should have mentioned this earlier. You want to go to the view button in the upper right-hand corner of your
Okay,
Zoom
right.
and switch yourself to speaker view. I forget to say that sometimes. I forget that.
Thank you. I didn't know I had to do that.
Did that help?
Yeah.
Oh, good, good. So you can see it now. Excellent. Sorry, my bad. So we have settings and recordings here, both places that we're going to be, both menu options that we're going to be looking at to control our Zoom settings. Let's look at I want to go first to the settings link in the Zoom account management screen here. And on that settings screen is a recording settings option. We can select that. And in order to give yourself the option to record to your local computer, you have to go to this page and turn on local recording. It's not necessarily, indeed probably not, enabled by default. So to turn it on, you just click on this icon right here. If it's off, that'll turn it on. If it's on, that'll turn it off. I don't want to turn it off right now for obvious reasons. I'm using it to talk about sawing off the limb while you're standing.
Stop.
But the local recording has to be turned on. And there are other settings here that we will look at here in a minute. But that's the thing I wanted to emphasize right now. This you have to go and turn on if you want to do local recording, in order to get these options here when you punch the record button. All righty. Any questions about cloud recording versus local recording? Advantages, disadvantages? I'm going to look at this in more detail in a minute. QuickTime. You can certainly record your Zoom sessions outside of Zoom using QuickTime on a Mac, and that will work, but it's unnecessarily complicated to do that. The Zoom recorder will give you at least as good a results as QuickTime would. As we'll see in a minute, the files that are produced in Zoom recordings, or by the Zoom recorder, the video files are MPEG-4 files, not MOV files or QuickTime files. But they are very standard. They can be played on a Mac. There's no issues there. Editing software, I've got a great recommendation for you. I'm going to give you in just a minute here. Okay, something relatively new that's just popped up that is free and easy and available to everyone, either PC or Mac. Not to be mysterious about it, it's a new editor called Clipchamp that is produced by, or owned by, of all people, Microsoft. That's available for free. And we'll look at that here in a minute. Okay, great questions. Please keep them coming. So we're going to start off with our cloud recording settings. You have a good deal of control over what gets recorded and what the recording looks like once it's finished in your cloud recording settings if you record to the cloud. This is a screenshot of what the cloud recording settings look like on the Zoom website. But let's go and actually take a look at that. We're not limited to PowerPoint, thank goodness. We can go to settings, recording, or you can access this through well, no, that's right. You can go to settings, recording, and you have local recording settings. We'll come back and look at those in a minute. They're much less complex. And cloud recording settings. You also can turn cloud recording capability on and off in your account. If you don't ever want to record to the cloud, even by accident, you can turn that off. Don't particularly see the reason or a need to do that, but you can. If for any reason Zoom refuses to record, and you're logged into your own account and you're the host of the meeting, then you might have to come and check here and make sure that at least one of these, local recording or cloud recording, is enabled. I've never seen an SDCCD Zoom Pro account that didn't have cloud recording enabled when it was received, but I suppose it's possible. Stuff does happen sometimes. So it's something you might need, a bit of information you might need at some point. But here are our options for cloud recording that you can select or not at your discretion. Record active speaker with shared screen is the first one. That means that it will record, if you share your screen in Zoom, the recording will contain the shared screen. If you have and you record to the cloud, if you have this checked, it will also record you in a little thumbnail, and it will put you up in the upper right hand corner. Here's what that looks like. We have some let me find that here. Where'd that go? Recording layouts. There we are. This is a help page that Zoom has on their website that shows you what the consequences or what the results of choosing some of these options is. Let me give you that link in the chat tool here just for fun. Zoom recording options. There's the link to this if you want to click on that and bookmark it later. For instance, if you record active speaker, it's going to record you, whatever your webcam is seeing or whatever your video feed is seeing. Gallery view, of course, is the Hollywood Squares view. With a shared window, if you record active speaker, you'll get just yourself here and not anybody else in the meeting. If you choose to record gallery view with shared screen, then you get some of the other folks who are in the meeting in a thumbnail video. It'll be a live video in the upper right hand corner of the recorded screen. That can be a problem if you are talking about stuff that's in the upper right hand corner of the shared screen, these video thumbnails can overlay that. So you have to think a little bit about what you're going to be sharing with your students or with your colleagues when you choose these settings. And indeed, you can fix it so that it doesn't record you at all by unchecking yourself there. You can record the active speaker and gallery view at the same time and the shared screen in separate files. But then things get just a little complicated when you want to put that back together. You've got to use a video editor. Then you get 3 different video files, and you have to merge those together and overlay them over different. It gives you a lot of control over what the final recording looks like, but it's a lot of editing work, and you have to know something about the video editor you're using in order to make this work. So that's not a very commonly selected option. And certainly, if you're into getting your recordings online as quickly as possible, you don't want that one. You can record and just the audio of the session in a separate file. Doesn't mean it won't record the video and audio in another file. If you check this option, it just gives you an audio-only recording file as well, which, let's say you were creating a podcast and you wanted your students to be able to subscribe to, and you wanted them to be able to listen to your lectures while they were doing other tasks without having to be sitting in front of a computer watching the recording, up to and including driving down the freeway, which is, I don't know how good an idea that is, but let's face it, we crossed that Rubicon when we put radios in cars the first time. People are going to do that. So you can get just an audio file. I always ask for that. I can't remember a circumstance where I use that audio file, but it's handy to have. The default, if you select audio to get an audio only recording, the default is to get one audio file with all the audio in it. But if you, again, I can't quite come up with a scenario where I would need this, but you can get a separate audio file for each and every participant in the meeting, which for the host should have a lot of stuff in it, but unless it's a real active back and forth discussion, most of the participant audio files or attendee audio files will mostly be silenced, but you do have that option. Somebody wanted that, and Zoom put that in for them. You also have the option to automatically save chat messages, save the chat log, so that at the end of the session, the complete log, the complete record of chats or of chat messages that are entered into the chat tool during the session will be saved. That's definitely one that's handy to have. In case there's ever a question about something that was said in the meeting and so on. It's a lot quicker to scroll through a chat log than it is to go through the entire soundtrack. So that's definitely one that I would recommend. It only records meetings or messages sent by the host to everyone or by anyone else to everyone. It only records public messages. It does not record private messages. So if you send a message to another person in the meeting specifically, rather than sending it to everyone, those don't get recorded. So private chat messages are not recorded. They're not saved. They are private. So those are your basic cloud recording settings. Advanced cloud recording gives you the option to add a timestamp. You get a little time code window down the bottom that it shows you where exactly time-wise something is in the recording. It's generally more distracting than it's worth, and usually in most video players, if you're playing the recording, the video player will tell you where you are time-wise in the recording anyway. So there's a limited degree of need for that sort of thing. Display participants' names in the recording. If you're recording students, don't do it. It's a privacy issue. And indeed, that's why they give you the option to not do that. You may not want those names recorded. Otherwise, the participant's name is recorded in the lower right-hand corner of their video thumbnail. Particularly if you're recording in gallery view, then everyone's name in the meeting is probably displayed. Generally not a good idea for students. And that brings up another issue, not directly related to this setting, but an issue about can I record class sessions where students show up and students speak? Is it legal to do that? Is it acceptable under FERPA, the Federal Educational Rights and Privacy Act? And the answer is sometimes, depending on how you're going to use that recording. If you record class meetings with students in them, you can realistically only show that recording to the same class in which it was recorded, the same course section. If you have two sections, one on Monday and one on Wednesday, and you record a session on Monday, can you just share it with the students in the Wednesday course section? No. That would be a FERPA violation because the students in the other section would know who was in the Monday section. And that's a violation of the students, the most fundamental part of FERPA. You can't share it with their parents either. They can, but you can't. So it's indeed, they shouldn't either because they would be violating other students' privacy. But it is acceptable under FERPA to use these recordings for the same class. That also means you can't use it in a future section, a future semester. You can only share a Zoom class meeting recording with the folks who are in that class, who are registered in that class. In that event, you don't have to, unless you get signed release forms from every student in the class allowing you to do that. There may be circumstances where that hassle is worth it. Certainly, it's not usually worth it. It's easier just to do the same meeting in another class live and record that and share that with the other class. But in the event where you're recording, you must let your students know you're recording. But that's handled automatically by Zoom. Zoom pops up a message to everyone that says, hey, this is being recorded, watch out. The implication being if you've got any wants or warrants out, you may want to turn off your video or leave the meeting or whatever. But the students are automatically warned. It's considered good practice to also say, okay, I'm start the recording. I did that for you all today. I want to make sure everybody knows this is being recorded. So as long as you do that, and as long as you don't show the recording to anyone other than the same class, you don't have to get releases. And there's no danger of violating FERPA or of getting into trouble for doing it. But that is something of a limitation. It's still not a good idea to display participants' names in the recording when students are in the meeting, though. Record thumbnails when sharing. This will allow you to record a thumbnail video of the presenter when the screen is shared so that you have that video as well. Optimize the recording for a third-party video editor. If you are planning to download the cloud recording and throw it into a video editor and make editing changes in it, you may want to turn that on, though quite frankly I've never had any problem with the editing the cloud recordings, even if I didn't check that. So I don't think it makes a huge difference. And it does make the recording a little bit bigger, and it takes a little more time for it to be generated. Do you want to create an audio transcript? Absolutely. We must have a transcript so that closed captions can be automatically created. Create recording highlights. Gives you kind of a highlights reel of your recording, of your session. I haven't really tried that very much. I don't know how good that is. It's I've got that checked just to play with it, though I don't usually use cloud recording, so haven't really had that much experience with that. Save panelist chat. This option refers to webinars, not to meetings. We have meeting capability, but not webinar capability in our Zoom accounts. Save poll results shared during the meeting or webinar. Usually those are saved anyway by being recorded from the screen, but you can get them in a separate file if you so desire, if you're using Zoom polling. So that's an option you have. And save the closed captions as a VTT file. What does that mean? Well, you're going to get closed captions when you record to the cloud anyway, unless your sound is just truly terrible and the quality of the audio is so bad that Zoom can't reasonably create a decent transcript of it automatically using artificial intelligence algorithms. But you may want those captions saved separately in a little text file formatted in so-called VTT format, which is a standard caption file format. Why would you want that? Well, maybe you want to upload this to another hosting service like Vimeo, which doesn't offer automatic captioning. In that event, you can use this VTT file and upload that to the same hosting service and make sure that the video is in fact closed captioned, which if it's not, we can't use it. There's no exceptions for, well, there's one exception for that. If you create a video, a Zoom recording that you're only going to share with one person and you know that one person is not hearing impaired, then you don't strictly have to caption it, but it's still a good idea to do so. So the captioning is pretty much an absolute requirement for any instructional video that we put online. This saving your closed captions as a VTT file just gives you a slight bit more flexibility, but it's not really, not generally all that useful. Sometimes I've found in a limited number of circumstances that when I've uploaded a Zoom recording to Canvas Studio or YouTube to share it with my colleagues, sometimes I found that the Zoom captions were a little bit better than those produced automatically by Canvas Studio and YouTube by recaptioning the video, because these captions are created from a version of the audio that's one generation closer to the original. Sometimes these are a little bit better, and you can take this VTT file and you can upload it into Canvas Studio or YouTube and replace the automatic captions they produce and maybe get a slightly better result. All right. A setting that will be set almost certainly in your SDCCD Zoom accounts is allow cloud recording sharing. It means you can share these recordings from the Zoom cloud. Otherwise, you can't. Yes, Kim.
Um, I had a question going back to Zoom captioning really quick.
Sure.
My main goal today is because I'm putting out a orientation for the cosmetology on our website,
Excellent.
a PowerPoint. It's all done. So would you recommend then that I go into the Zoom captions to do the caption, or do the Canvas Studio to do the caption?
They're pretty much equivalent.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's not a clear advantage of one over the other.
Okay, great,
Well,
great. Just make sure I do it. Make sure I do
make
it.
sure the
Put
captions
it on
are
the
available.
thing. Okay.
Well, I will say this. Canvas Studio captions, if you upload the Zoom recording to Canvas Studio and have Canvas Studio caption it, the captions will be displayed at the top of the screen,
Okay.
which sometimes covers up stuff that you want people to see.
Yes, exactly.
And people don't have an option to move it.
Lovely. Okay, that
Zoom
made up my mind.
captions are displayed in the Zoom cloud. Captions are displayed at the bottom of the screen if your
Okay.
video is hosted on the Zoom cloud. And the same is true for YouTube. And with YouTube and Zoom, you have the option to move the captions around. You don't with Canvas Studio. So
Great.
those are
Thank you.
the
Yeah.
options you have there.
Cool.
Good question. All right. We certainly want to be able to share. There's no point in having a recording if you can't share it. So that one will be turned on. This is where you can set automatic recording. But if you do automatic recording, you're almost certainly going to have to edit your recordings before putting them online. So that you want to remember. On the other hand, this will prevent you, if it's absolutely critical that you record something, you can set automatic recording on, and you can specify whether it be done on the local computer or in the cloud if you turn that on. But I generally find that that's more of a hassle than it's worth. I'm not going to worry about IP address access. And it's impractical for us to require users to authenticate before viewing cloud recordings because that requires the viewers to have their own Zoom accounts. And of course, most of our students will not have their own Zoom accounts. They can get free Zoom accounts if they want them, but there's no requirement for them to do that to attend your meetings. So that definitely is not something that's appropriate when that setting is not appropriate when we're recording Zoom class sessions, especially. And certainly you don't want them to have to register in order to watch the recording. You can put a passcode on the recording if it's something sensitive and you only want people, and you want to have positive control over who can watch the recording. You can set a passcode on it so that people have to have the passcode, but generally that's a bad idea. The people you're going to keep out are the ones who need to watch the recording in most cases. Let's see. And certainly you want people to be able to see the transcript in the chat. You can automate your management of your Zoom cloud storage usage by only allowing your recordings to stay up there for a certain number of days. And they can set it to a high number of days so they can stay up there for months. But my recommendation is if you're going to have to remove recordings from your Zoom cloud to comply with storage limitations and so on, do it manually, one at a time. Don't have them done automatically. That seems like an exceptionally bad idea. And you can delete your cloud recordings, and that is set, not only is that set on, but it's locked, so you can't lose the capability to do Let's see. And also locked is the setting that causes people to be, your attendees to be notified of the fact that the meeting is being recorded. You can't turn that off, and that's appropriate under state law. It's illegal to record people without their knowledge. So those are your cloud recording settings. And that's what they look like. Let's see if there's anything else in the recording layouts here that we need to see. I think we saw everything we knew. Shared screen with thumbnail gallery view. When you select that option, this is what you get. Or with large active speaker thumbnails. But those settings are a little dangerous, because if there's something underneath that, your attendees, the people watching the recording, can't see it. If there's something they need to see, there can be problems there. So you got to be a little careful with that. This is the default. If you select under shared screen with active speaker, this is the default. And if there's something right underneath that little video thumbnail, even if you move that thumbnail when you're recording, the recording will put it right back in that upper right hand corner, which is a less used part of the screen in most cases. But there is, in fact, in this case, an optional menu item right underneath her face that nobody can see. So this is what you're probably going to do with shared screens, is just have it shared with no, it's safer to have it shared with no video thumbnails. Because see, there was stuff under there that might be important. Okay. All right, any questions about cloud recording settings? What you can record, or what you have the option to turn off and turn on? Those being your main ones there. All right, if you think of anything, be sure to bring it up as we move along. Local recording settings are much less extensive, but still important. And with local recordings, there's two places you need to go to look for local recording settings. One is the Zoom website, which is where we were looking. Michio, can Zoom, does Zoom own the recordings? No, they do not. You, the person who creates the recording, is the copyright holder. Even the district doesn't own the recording. You do. That's part of the, it's written into the AFT contract. Faculty own the instructional materials that they create. The district does not. The district just has the right to use them, but they don't own the copyright. So by putting your recordings on the Zoom cloud, you don't give Zoom, you give Zoom permission to store them and to serve them to clients if you give the clients the information they need to access them. But Zoom in no way owns those recordings, nor does the district. That's your intellectual property. Good question. So we need, for local recording settings, we need to look both at the Zoom website and the Zoom desktop client in order to see all of the possible local recording settings. Let's see what I mean there. The Zoom website's straightforward enough. Those local recording settings are right at the, if we go to settings, log into our Zoom account, go to settings, and go to the recording tab, you see the local recording settings right at the top. It's quite important, of course, if we want to do local recording, make sure that local recording is turned on. Again, that is not necessarily the case with your SDCCD Zoom accounts. You may have to go in and turn that on. with local recordings, you can also ensure that you save the chat log and that you say that you get a VTT file. You may or may not need that, because if you're recording locally, you're going to have to upload this to Canvas Studio or YouTube anyway, probably, to share it with your students or your colleagues. And you can have Canvas Studio and YouTube recaption the or automatically caption the process. But if you turn on live captions and you want those captions preserved, you can save them in a VTT file. You might as well do that. And the other local recording setting on the website ensures that you have the right, as the host, to give participants the right to record the session themselves. That would be a very poor idea if you were recording Zoom class meetings. You really don't want your students to have their own recording of that session, because you have no control over what they might do with that recording, and that would almost be a guaranteed FERPA violation. So you probably don't want to give students the right to record locally under most circumstances, but colleagues in a professional meeting, you might well want to do that. So you certainly want to have the option to do that. How do you give people the right to record? Well, let me share my Zoom screen with you here for a second. Okay. I have these thumbnails here across the top. If I want to give Anthony the right to record this session locally, I just right-click on Anthony's thumbnail, and I select the option to allow him to record local files. He can't record to the Zoom cloud using my account, but he can record to his local computer if and only if I give him that option, and I have to do that person by person. I can't just set that globally. Zoom makes you really work at this to get to allow somebody else to record locally. That doesn't generally affect your performance of your Zoom meeting or anything like that, because it takes place on the attendee's computer, and it doesn't affect the quality of your recording, video or audio. But it is possible to give as many different people as you want the capability to make their own local recording of the meeting, but only if you've turned this option on, which makes that possible. You can turn that off and make it impossible for you to do that. Not quite sure why you would, but you can do that. Okay. Now, there are also recording options in the Zoom desktop client. Well, what's that? Well, that looks like this. Okay. This is what makes Zoom work on your computer. It's automatically downloaded and installed on your computer the first time you enter a Zoom meeting, and it stays there. You do have to keep it up to date if you want various Zoom features to keep working, but it's automatically, you have it on your computer. If you've ever joined a Zoom meeting, whether you hosted the meeting or not, that Zoom client will be on your computer. To access that Zoom client, or indeed, when you go to join a Zoom meeting, the client is automatically run and connects you to your Zoom meeting. That little box that pops up that says Open Zoom Meetings is popped up by the Zoom desktop client running in the background. But you may or may not see this actual window here at any time on your screen unless you deliberately bring it up. To bring it up, you just run the Zoom client from your computer. There may be an icon on your desktop to do that. If not, in Windows, and let me share my Zoom screen again. In Windows, you can go to the search box in the taskbar and just type Zoom. And there the Zoom app will come up and you can run it from there. Or on the Mac, you can just go to your applications. If you don't have a Zoom icon in your ribbon at the bottom of the screen or on your desktop, you can go to the Finder, you can pull up your applications folder, and you can run it from there. In either case, you'll get this same window. And in this window is a little geared wheel here in the upper right-hand corner, just below your avatar image here, your Zoom image if you've uploaded one. I'm being Boris today. You can click on that geared wheel, and that brings up your client settings. A lot of this duplicates settings in your settings area on the website, but some of it isn't. Some things you can only access from here. So Zoom settings have something of a multiple personality disorder. There are some settings you have to access from the website and some that you have to access from the desktop client, and some you can access either place. And figuring out which ones are which and separating out what's going on is one of the more confusing things about using Zoom. Fortunately, generally the default settings that your account comes with work fine. But if you want to have more control over your local recordings, you can go to your recordings section area in the Zoom desktop client, and you have a few other things. Notably, on local recordings, you can control where Zoom stores your local Zoom recordings. By default, as I said before, it's going to put them in your Documents folder in a subfolder named Zoom that is automatically created the first time you enter a Zoom meeting. So those folders will be there automatically. You can, if you wish, change that location and put them somewhere else. Maybe you want to send them directly to an external storage drive or something like that, because these are big files. And Michio, I haven't forgotten that question you had earlier about how big they are. The answer is they're several hundred megabytes in most cases. But it depends, obviously, on the length of the meeting and what you were doing during the meeting. But it tells me I've got 353 gigabytes of space available on my hard drive for Zoom recordings. Or you can have Zoom prompt you at the end of the meeting and ask you where you want it to put. So if you want to put some recordings one place and other recordings in a different place, depending on the purpose of the meeting, you can have Zoom ask you at the end of the meeting where to save the recordings. I've always found that to be too much work, but you do have that option. Just as you did with cloud recording, you have the option to record a separate audio file of each participant, at least up to the first 80 speakers. God, I can't imagine what a management nightmare that is if you select that. Maybe there's some reason for that. I haven't been able to figure out one for it yet. You have the option to either display participants' names in the recording or not. I just keep that turned off just on general principles, but you do have the option to record those names. I have that option to optimize for a third-party video editor. I have that checked, but like I say, I've never had trouble editing a Zoom recording, whether I check that or not. So I don't know if that's that critical or not. You can add a timestamp, as we talked about earlier, similar to cloud recording. You can choose to record your video image during screen sharing. And if you choose to, you can choose to place the video next to the shared screen in the recording rather than over top of it, which is a good option to pick, because that way you know that the recording is not going to, your video thumbnail is not going to overlay anything on the shared screen. So this is the safe bet. It decreases the size of your main recording of your shared screen, but a little bit, but not enough to matter in most cases. And it ensures that you're not going to have the situation where you're talking about something that your face is over top of. I've had that happen to me too many times. You can also choose, if you really want to fill up your hard drive in a hurry, to keep the temporary recording files that are generated while you're recording locally. That means that those files are typically larger than the final recording files. So that's going to use up hard drive space in a hurry. So you probably wouldn't do that unless you're really, really concerned that there's some possibility that the recording might not render properly. And you could take that temporary recording file and drop it into an editor and deal with it and so on. I've never found it necessary to do that. And you also have here an option to manage my cloud recordings. But if you click that button right there, it's just going to take you to the website. And we've already seen that. So these are some extra things that you can, extra controls that you have over your local recordings, if you choose to do that. That you don't have on the website for some reason. I don't know what that reason is. But they're easy enough to find as long as you know that the Zoom desktop client exists and how to pull it up. Okay, I certainly don't want to close that client window, because if I do that, I'll cut the meeting off. So let me get that out of the way. And let's go back to our PowerPoint presentation here and move to the next slide. Managing your recordings. We've seen how to get the recordings and how to control what's recorded, but how do we, once we have them, now what? How can we manage them? How can we share them? How can we preserve them? And we'll start with a local recording, since there's more management really generally involved in local recordings than in cloud recordings. As we saw in that client, I have not seen my Zoom client since SDCCD took over the Zoom account. It's there. It's on your computer. You wouldn't be in this meeting if it weren't on your computer. But you have to start that. In order to see that client window, you have to run it manually.
Oh, okay.
It works in the background most of the time. If you actually want to see that Zoom client window to change settings in it or something, you have to run it manually.
All right, thank you.
Dave, there is a slight, real quick, a slight possibility that even though the change wouldn't have removed the client, but some people do use the web client, which doesn't require the downloaded version. So just a reminder on that.
Yeah, the web client is something that's very unlikely to be a factor for us, though, because in order to host a meeting, you have to have the desktop client.
Okay.
Or
Gotcha.
you have to have the mobile client loaded on your smartphone or your tablet. So that's not likely to be a factor for us. It could be a factor for students, though more often than not, they are also using the desktop client. That web client generally only is used when you're maybe attending a Zoom meeting from a public computer somewhere that you don't have the right that won't let you install or won't let Zoom install the desktop client automatically, then the web client can kick in lieu of that. But it's fairly unusual to see folks using it.
Gotcha. Yeah, and in my experience, it's very limited too, isn't it, compared to
It is very
GUI?
limited compared to the desktop clients. You don't have nearly the capabilities that you have with the desktop client. So if students are using their own devices, they're going to be using the desktop client to access.
Okay, thanks for that, Dave.
That's a really good point to bring up because that web client does exist. Okay, so we can control the local recording, where local recordings are saved in our desktop client settings, recording settings we saw. So let's take a look at that and see what what these local recordings look like on our computer. See what files are produced. See how they can be edited, and see how we can then get those recordings online so we can share them with our students. I'm going to start that process by bringing up my file manager. I'm using a Windows computer here, so that's going to be File Explorer. On the Mac, this would be the Finder. To find those recordings on your hard drive, you look for your Documents folder. It'll be in the list of in your quick access list here, and you pull that Documents folder up, your Documents library they call it in Windows, and you'll see a bunch of folders probably at the top of the display here on the right. If you scroll down, you'll find one folder named Just Zoom. That is where your cloud recordings go by default. And I don't see any particular reason to put them anywhere else. If I open up that folder, I see in my case, I see a ton of subfolders under that. And each one of these represents a Zoom meeting where I recorded something or saved something. The folder contains the recording files. The folder is named by date and time, and it identifies the folder as having been generated by in my personal meeting room on Zoom, which I always use. But to figure out which recording is which, you just need to know when you held the meeting. The oldest one I have on here right now is from 2021, August 1st, and it started at 7:58 a.m. Though watch out, this uses 24-hour time, so the next one started at 2:02 p.m. or 1400 hours, if you were ever used to thinking in military time. So the recordings are contained within these folders. That's how your file manager keeps one recording separate from another. By default, that will be sorted in time order with the oldest at the top and the newest at the bottom, though you can, of course, change that by clicking up here on Name in the file manager, but you probably don't want to. So the most recent one I have here is from October 7th. But if I mouse over that, it gives me the parameters of that folder, and look at the size. 25.4 kilobytes. That's not a video file. Video files are many megabytes in size generally. So I know that one is not a video recording. That's probably just a chat log from another meeting I was in. The next one is an empty folder. I don't know exactly how that happened. Empty folder. That's curious. All right, here's one that's 845 megabytes. That's got video in it, probably. So I'm going to double click that folder to open it, and we'll see what we get with the settings that I have, the local recordings set, the settings that I have set for my local recordings on Zoom. I've got 5 files here. I've got an M4A file, which is an audio only recording, because I selected that option. So if I want to do a podcast, I can get just my soundtrack and put that online. I can't recall that I've ever done that, but I have that option. Then I have the chat log. I have it twice. Once I saved it when I saved it manually, and once when it was saved automatically at the end of the meeting. The meeting saved chat.txt is the chat log from that meeting. If I double click that and bring it up, there's my chat from that meeting. Same thing in both there. This recording.conf file, I'm not even sure what that is. To tell you the truth, I've never used it. But here's the file I want. It's an MPEG-4, MP4 file. This is the most common digital video file format there is. It's the most standard. It's used. It's playable, storable, usable on all platforms: Windows, Mac, Linux, whatever. Smartphones, tablets can all handle MPEG-4 files. This is my recording of an approximately 2 hour, and if I mouse over that, the little tooltip tells me that recording is 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 52 seconds. So, Michaud, earlier you asked how big are these files? Well, the answer is they're a little bit less. If it's 2 hours, it's going to be somewhere between a half a gig and a gig, a half a gigabyte and a full gigabyte of storage. Obviously, shorter recordings have smaller files. So they do take up a fair bit of space on your hard drive. No doubt about that. What can you do about that? Well, what I have to do periodically is take my older ones and copy them to a backup drive that I have attached to the computer, a USB connected hard drive. And then I delete once I'm sure everything copied correctly, I delete the recordings from my local hard drive, my main hard drive, to preserve it. Right now, it told me a little while ago at one point that I have 350 or so gigabytes left out of 1,000. This is a terabyte of drive on this machine. If I'm not sure how much I have left, in Windows, I can always go to this PC and look at my Windows drive, the C drive, and I have 353 gigabytes of space free, which is plenty at this point, but I'm about to have to think about archiving some of the older ones, which I probably don't need to have on my main hard drive at this point. I can move them over to this expansion drive here, which has 3 terabytes of storage, and keep them safe while backing that up to another hard drive periodically so that I don't lose them. Because it's nice to keep these recordings, because these are the original full quality recordings that I certainly want to keep access to. But periodically you are going to have to clean the local recordings off your main hard drive and put them on something else. But external hard drives, USB connected hard drives, have gotten so inexpensive that that's not a major issue anymore. Okay, let's go back to Zoom again. So that's where you find your recordings. And that MPEG-4 file is the one that you want. What if I want to edit that? Well, you need a video editing program. used to be those were very expensive and very hard to learn. They've gotten much easier to learn and use over the years, but they can still be expensive. The one I like, Camtasia, is $212 for an educational license now. It's well worth it to me, and that's what I do almost all my editing in. But there are free alternatives, which are mostly less easy to use than Camtasia, and in some cases less powerful as well. But recently, a great free video editor has entered the scene that is provided by Microsoft. It doesn't have all the capability that Camtasia has by any means, but it's got everything you need in the vast majority of circumstances. And did I mention it's free? It doesn't even require you to load a program onto your computer. There's a version of it, the free version, that will run in a web browser and be used as software as a service or cloud software. So it's quite a nice little item. Just to show you what that looks like, I'm going to pull it up. I can't do an entire how-to on this editor, and I did one about a month ago, and the recording's online on our Open On Demand site. And I'll be doing another session like that before too long, because this is such a cool tool. But let me show it to you real quick. I just need to pull up a web browser window here. And the tool in question is called ClipChamp. One word, C-L-I, and I misspelled it. That takes talent. ClipChamp.com is how you access this. And to get started, if this is the first time you use it, you have to click try for free and you have to create an account. If you've already done that, you just click log in, and you'll either be prompted to log in using the email address and the password that you used when you created the account, or you can tie it to your Microsoft account, which you have to use Office 365 at the district anyway. So you can tie it to that account. And then probably you're logged into that account on your computer all the time anyway. So when you click login on ClipChamp, you just go right in. But either way, you access ClipChamp, and you will see videos that you've previously worked on if you've used this before down below here. But if you want to create a new video, you just click the button that says create a new video. This don't get a whole lot simpler. And this is the ClipChamp editor interface. To load and it will handle, ClipChamp will handle 2-hour-long Zoom recordings. Let me drop one in there. There's a couple of different ways to do that. This is your media bin here, the place where you put the videos that you want to use in your editing project. To add video to your project, you just click this plus sign here and browse for files. If you've got that video file on your local computer, which you will if it's a local recording, you just click browse files. You go to your documents folder, you go to Zoom, you find the one you want to edit. Just pick this one I've been using here. Let's take that one, select it, click open. Takes it a minute to load because it's a big file, but not that long. You get this little warning, your media isn't stored in the cloud. Fine, I don't care. If you want your media as well as the program to be stored in the cloud, you have to pay them like $10 a month. And I don't want that to happen anyway. So for the free version of it, your media stays on your computer, and your performance is better that way anyway. So there it is. There's my Zoom recording. To get it onto the timeline so that I can edit it, I just click and drag it over, drop it on the timeline in the editor. And I can scrub through the video. I see what I'm working on up here. This little cursor allows me to this vertical white line here allows me to govern what point in the video I see here. I have just all sorts of capabilities here. I can crop, I can fill in around it, I can crop it, I can rotate the video. If I took the video with my cell phone and I have it in the wrong orientation, I can flip it, and so on. I can flip it horizontally and vertically automatically, or rotate it by any number of degrees. I can play the video.
Innocuous as an ad.
I can, as I say, I can scrub back and forth in the video. If I want to cut a piece of the video out, like maybe I've got a little bit of, at the end that I want to get rid of, I can magnify this too so that I can see it better. Just got all of the, let's say I just want to cut off a piece of that video. I just put the white bar here, the vertical bar, at the point in the video, which I can verify by looking at the preview window here, and just click this, Clipchamp is having a moment. Got a lot going on this computer right this minute, and on my internet connection. It's making me wait. Come on. Shoot. Doesn't usually do this. Clipchamp is a little locked up here at the moment. Apparently doing this at the same time I'm running all the stuff having to do with Zoom and OBS and all that at the same time. I have locked up Clipchamp. I can just try backing up and coming back into this. No, the page has gone completely unresponsive on me. Shoot. That doesn't usually happen. I think it just too much. Wait a minute, something's happening here. I hear the fan in the computer lowering and no, I just irritated it too much there. I'll have to exit. Let's see if we can reload that page and get back to where we were. Okay, there we are. Now, if I want to cut a piece off of this, I can just click the split tool there. And let me magnify that a little bit so we can see it better. And if I want to get rid of this part of the video, I just select it, click on it, press the delete key on the keyboard. I can do that internal to the video as well. I can add other videos to it. I have a pretty capable video editor. I also have, with Clipchamp, a video creator tool. I can record my webcam or my screen, computer screen, and voiceover with either, or both at the same time using the recorder built into Clipchamp. Did I mention this was all free? So Clipchamp is a terrific video editing and production tool, both production and post-production, as we say. And it's one that will handle 2-hour-long Zoom recordings. So it can get a little cranky, but you can usually back out of that sort of thing. And I'm being quite demanding on my computer here by doing all this at the same time that I'm talking to you all on Zoom, but it worked. So Clipchamp is definitely the option I would recommend if you don't have a video editor already that you like, that you've paid for, that you've learned to use, and so the learning curve for Clipchamp is very gentle, very easy. And we do have on our Open On Demand site at sdccd.olvid.org. If you ever need that URL, it's in the signature of every email that you've ever received from me. If you just search for Clipchamp, all one word, I have both an 18-minute tutorial on how to use the basics of Clipchamp, or a 2-hour-long seminar ringing out Clipchamp and showing everything from September 16th. And I'll probably do this again sometime soon because I love this tool. And I think it's something great for people to have. And did I mention it's free? So you can learn all you need to know about Clipchamp at any time. So once we have the video, the Zoom recording in the format we want, how can we share it with our students? Well, we can't share it if it's sitting on our local computer as a video file. We have to upload that file either to Canvas Studio or YouTube would be the best options here. If you want to put it in Canvas Studio, you just log into Canvas at sdccd.instructure.com. You go to Studio in the gray bar on the left, the Global Access menu. And if you want to put your Zoom recording in your Canvas Studio library, you click Add in the upper right-hand corner. You browse for the file. You find the file in Documents. This is your local recording in the Zoom folder, and you upload it. Oh, that wasn't it. Select the file and click Open. And that starts the upload. We're not going to wait for this to upload. A 2-hour-long Zoom recording's going to take quite a while to upload. Well, you can see it's moving right along, but it's going to take some time. If once I get it on here, I need to make sure it's captioned. I do that by viewing a video, going to the Captions link underneath the video, and well, that one's already been captioned. Let's see if I have one here that's not captioned. Yeah, you just tell Canvas Studio what the language was and request the captions. You'll then have to come back later and go back to the Captions tool and review the captions, look at them, edit them at need, and then publish them in order for them to be available to your viewers. Oh geez, that's not the best thumbnail I might have picked. Oh well. So that's how it works in Canvas Studio. YouTube is even, well, it's similarly easy to load a video onto YouTube. You log into your Google account, you click the little camera icon and select upload video. You select the file you want to upload, you find that Zoom recording in the same place if it's a local recording. Select the recording and click open. You have to give it a title. And you have to tell YouTube, no, it's not made for kids. Otherwise, by kids, they mean someone younger than 13. You don't want to have to jump through the hoops that requires if you say yes, because you're not likely to have many, if any, students under 13. Then you just click next keep clicking next. Don't worry about these intermediate screens. You don't really have to do anything there. You do have to tell YouTube how visible you want this video to be. Do you want the entire world to be able to search for it, and if they find it, be able to view it? Or do you want people, in order to view it, to have to get the link to the video from you? They can't search. If you select unlisted, they can't search for the video. They can't find the video unless you give them the link in an email or a link in Canvas or whatever. So that's effectively private, controlled by you. But you don't want to select private if it's an instructional video under the vast majority of circumstances, because in order to view a private video, you have to specify who can view it, one person at a time. You have to enter their email address, and they have to have a Google account and they have to be logged into it in order to view the video. That's not practical for students. So the vast majority of instructional videos, particularly Zoom recordings that may have student images in them, must be unlisted so that only the people to whom you expose the link can watch the video. If it's another type of recording that you don't mind the world being able to find and view, you can make it public. But you'd never do that with a Zoom recording that contained any personally identifying information on students. And then you just finally click save, and the video is uploaded to YouTube. It is automatically captioned once it's uploaded. You don't have to request the captions. You don't have to go back and review them. You can, but you don't have to. And you will be given in your Zoom or your YouTube Studio interface the link to the video, which you can share with your students or your colleagues or whomever you want to watch the recording. So that's all there is to uploading a Zoom recording to YouTube and making it accessible in both senses of the word. Accessible to those with disabilities and reachable by your selected audience. Okay. Local recording management. Cloud recording management. The main thing you've got to worry about here is at some point needing to remove recordings from your Zoom Cloud list because we're running out of space. We say, if you don't remove those old recordings, we're going to have to do it for you. IT may send out a message at some point about that. We hope that people will just be responsible and will remove older recordings that they don't need anymore, either by just deleting them from the Zoom Cloud or by downloading them getting a local copy of them and then deleting them from the Zoom cloud and freeing up the space in the Zoom cloud. Once you, well, let's see how that's done. It's pretty easy. If we go to our Zoom account management screens, our Zoom cloud recordings are accessed under the recordings link here on the left. And you get a big list of all the Zoom cloud recordings that you've made. It's paged. You may have to move page by page, forward and backward, to see all of your recordings. The topic, if you've scheduled a meeting and named the meeting name will appear here. If, as I do, you're lazy about that and you just run everything from your personal meeting room, you will just see your personal meeting room here, and they'll all have the same topic. The ID is just your Zoom meeting ID. That doesn't change. And you'll see the start time and the file size and how many files there are, and that's governed by those cloud recording settings. You could have a bunch of files in a single from a single Zoom session. If you chose like to record everybody's audio separately and so on, you could have 80 files in there. More common to have 3 to 5 or so. To access one of these recordings, all we have to do is click on the topic, which is a hyperlink. And here in this session, as a matter of fact, I made 2 recordings. I started the recorder and stopped it, and then started and stopped it again, which you can do with a cloud recording. It tells you what files you're going to get. The shared screen with speaker view, because that's the option I picked. An audio only file, because I picked that option, and the audio transcript file, because I picked that option. How do I share these with my students? Well, if I want to share that recording, I've got this button here that says copy shareable link. That puts the shareable link on my clipboard. I can then paste that shareable link into the URL, the unique web link for that video, into an email or into a link in Canvas, a hyperlink in Canvas, and have my students access it that way. I can delete the recording from here if I don't need it anymore. But if it's something I need, if it's old enough that I'm not using it right now, and I've been threatened with losing my older recordings if I don't cut down the amount of storage space I'm using in the Zoom cloud, and yes, they can tell who uses what from the administrators can. I can't. I'm not a Zoom account administrator anymore, but the IT can. I can download this file before I delete it. If I click the download, to do that, I just click this download button, and it says download recording files. And if there are multiple files, each one will be downloaded separately. So you get 3 different files. At this point, you have a potential management nightmare if you haven't prepared, because your web browser will by default just download this in all probability to your download area on your PC or your Mac and just drop them into the root of that folder on your hard drive. And these files will all be named similarly. You'll never be able to figure out which file goes with which recording and so on. You'll lose track of them. You might as well not download them. God-awful mess. So you want to make sure that you have your web browser set before you download your recordings from the Zoom cloud. You want to make sure you have your web browser set to ask you where to store the files as you download them. And that looks like this. Okay, it's downloading the first of the 3 files, which happens to be the video recording. And it's asking me, where do you want me to put this? I have a folder called Zoom Video Downloads, which just happens to be the last place I saved one of these. So it popped up here, but you can't depend on that. You have to tell, you'll have to navigate to where you want this to go. Where you want these to go, and you'll very likely have to create a new folder to put this particular set of recording files for this Zoom session into. How do you make your web browser do that? Well, let me interrupt this process here. I'll just cancel that. I'm going to cancel out of this process here. Notice it's going to save each file in turn. To make Chrome do this, I go to my Chrome settings menu in the far upper right here. I select settings. And go to the little hamburger here and select the downloads option from that menu. Thanks very much, Anthony, for coming today. And by default, it's going to load to my downloads, but I also have this option to tell Chrome to ask where to save each file before downloading. And I need to turn that, make sure that's turned on before I do the download. This process is different for each different web browser, but every web browser, notably Chrome, Firefox, Edge, and Safari, which are the common ones, all have options to make the browser ask you where to store downloaded files. I'll show you those others in a minute. I know some of you were getting up to right to the end, and I don't want to take the time to do that right now, but I will show you that in a minute, if those of you want to hang around for it. That's how you do it in Chrome. It's somewhat similar in the other web browsers. Okay, so now if I go back to my recordings, if I want to download the recording, we'll do this one. Say I'll take recording 1 here and download it. It's real short. I click download, hit the download button again. And now I'm going to put all my Zoom video downloads in the same master folder. I'll make a new folder for this one, and I'll call this one this folder, new folder here, demo download 10/7/2022, so I know that one was today's example. Then I'll open that folder, and then I'll save that video file to it. And that starts. And then immediately the next file, which is the, that's another video file. I'm not sure what I asked for on this one. So it's another file that I want to save in the same folder, but it's jumped out of that folder. I have to navigate back to that folder. So I got to find that one for today. Demo download. There it is. And save it again. And I got to do that every time. Darn it. It's a pain in a keister. This is the caption file. And there were 3 files there. And now I've got all 3 of those stored on my hard drive. And I have them backed up. Presumably I back up my hard drive, so they're safe. I can now go back to my recordings, and if I wish, I can delete that recording and free up the disk space. I can also delete recordings from the previous screen. I hate those JavaScript pop-ups there on that site. If I want to, like if I want to delete everything associated with this session, I can go to the context menu here for that on the right for that session, and I can delete the whole thing from here as well, rather than having to do it in detail. And that will free up the space on the disk eventually. If you delete a recording from your Zoom cloud, you have 30 days to change your mind. It goes into a trash folder, and which you can access, and it will stay there for 30 days. And at the end of 30 days, it will automatically be removed completely from the Zoom cloud and never to be retrieved. So you are working with a bit of a net. If you delete something and suddenly realize you deleted the wrong thing, you can immediately go to the trash folder and pull it back out, and you'll be fine. So that's the basic process of downloading and saving Zoom cloud recordings that are in danger of being deleted or need to be deleted, but you don't want to lose the recording. In many cases, those recordings won't be of any use to you any longer, so you don't have to worry about that. But you can just delete them. But you do have the option to download and save. And once you download them, if you want to put them back online, you're certainly welcome to do so, but you'll have to do it just as if it were a local recording. You'd upload it to Canvas Studio or YouTube and have it captioned again and share it again with your client population. You're always welcome to do that. Same process as we saw for local recordings. And that's it. I'm done. That was my syllabus for today, my presentation. I'm more than happy to continue to answer questions as long as you have them. With one proviso, I do have another meeting at 12:30 today that I have to go to. But I've got a half hour here. I'll answer any questions you have on this topic. I like to take the ones on this topic first. And but then I'll be happy to answer questions on anything I can help with right up to 12:30. So just unmute yourself and speak up. Just don't stand on ceremony. There, Leah.
Dave, and I would like to open my screen. So I have a little bit different question about the studio on Canvas. I tried to make a video, and I know some things I need to allow through the settings. My computer have download the studio on Canvas. So I had a problem, but I figured out somehow.
The screen recorder.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I successfully fixed that, but it's another situation happened. When I click on the record, the canvas disappeared, and I see my desktop. And on the video, instead of canvas, which I would like to introduce to my students, my desktop of my computer appeared. So someone suggested me minimize the screen, whereas the canvas is. I minimize the screen, but half of the desktop still be available. Then I manually just drag the screen. This was minimized, and I drag and make the whole desktop now looks like it's a Canvas website. Then I was able to record successfully and demonstrate students what I would like they will learn. So why has happened?
That Canvas Studio screen recorder is not the best screen recorder ever.
Oh, okay. So it's just
It does have. Let me pull it up, and
okay.
we can take a look at it. Okay, I'll let me best way to do this is for me to share my Zoom screen with you. So I'm sharing my primary monitor with you. Now I can pull up Canvas Studio
Mhm.
on that screen. And let me go to that. Here's Studio. Go to my library. Yep, you're seeing that. So when you hit record and you go to the screen capture option,
Mhm.
things start to get a little funky. The problem here is that this screen capture recorder is a separate program that has to be installed on your computer the first
Oh.
time you use it. And once you install it, it can still have some cranky behavior.
Mhm.
If
I
we
see.
click screen capture, we get this option to open the screen recorder. We have to select that, which is one thing that's kind of a pain. And all right, here's the screen. You get to this point then
Mhm.
where you
That's
see
right.
this, right? All right, at this point, this is going to record whatever else you see on your monitor, assuming you keep this default selection of screen. You can have it record your webcam instead, if you wish, though there are probably other better ways to do that. Or you can have it record both at the same time, which can introduce other issues. So the simplest thing to do is just leave this selection at the default. So it's going to record whatever I see behind this window on this screen. I can, before I, and I also want to make sure that it's hearing my audio when I speak. That I see here in the narration area. If I don't see those green bars bouncing over, then I've got the wrong microphone, the wrong audio input selected, and I have to change that by clicking on this little right caret. It finds all the microphones that are on, or the input sources that are on my computer, and I pick the right one. Hopefully you don't have that many. And I pick the one I want to use, and then OK it. And now, but you want to make sure you see those green bars.
Mhm.
Okay, now, before I hit record down here, I just select the window I want to record, and I bring it up on my screen. If I don't want to record my Canvas Studio library, which is likely, I can change the window. Let's say, say I want to record the YouTube interface. I can just bring up YouTube. And if I'm maybe talking, sake of argument, let's say I wanted to talk about YouTube Studio. Okay, I can before I hit record, I make sure that what I want to record is visible on my screen. And stop me if
Yeah, what I tried to explain, maybe I didn't explain clear enough. I reached this point. Yes, I
good.
was
So
able,
you get
but
to this point, okay.
since I click on record, this button red, yes. So my canvas page disappeared. And this frame to record the video now available on my desktop. Yeah, okay, just forget about probably
No, if I click record,
complicated.
I
Yeah,
I get counted down, and then what you were seeing should stay on the screen. What kind of computer are you using? Are you
I
using
have Mac.
a Macintosh?
Uh-huh. Yeah, maybe
Let's
it's
try this on a Mac then. Just a second. I've got a Mac running and in the meeting here, just in case. Let me kill my screen share here. Stop share. Okay. Now I'm going to share my screen on the Mac over here, which I've made possible. Forgive me, I'm a little slower on the Mac. That's not my usual environment. so now I should be able to share my desktop with you. All right, there's my Mac desktop. I'm going to pull up. What web browser do you usually use on the Mac?
Usually I use Chrome.
Chrome. Okay, let me pull up the Chrome window here. I've got one. And full screen that. Okay. Now I'm going to go to Canvas Studio by logging into Canvas. And going to Studio. And getting rid of that. So I can see what I'm doing. Now I'm going to I'm going to record screen capture. So far so good, right?
Yeah.
And it's loading the screen capture recorder. I think I've installed that on here. If not, I'll have to do that. We'll see. In a moment, if it doesn't come up, it will ask me to do the, yeah, it's going to ask me to download it. All right. And I'll put it in my downloads folder. That's fine. And I'll run it by double clicking on it here in Chrome. Setting it up. Double click that. Yes. I want to open it. All the usual shtick. Screen recorder or web. And go back to the web page and start a record. Okay. So we'll go back to Studio. Down here in Chrome. There we go. And we'll try recording screen capture again. And we'll open the screen recorder launcher. That popped up that time. And yes, I do want to open that. I know it's from the internet. And it's starting, it's updating it automatically. And in a minute, it'll start the screen capture recorder. There it is. Would like to access the microphone? Sure. All right. So there's my recorder. It is set to record just portion of my screen. I'm going to tell it to record the full screen. I always like to do that. That way it simplifies matters and I don't accidentally miss something in the recording that I want to record. So I set it to full screen. Now it's going to record everything I see here. Okay?
So what I did wrong, maybe, okay, size, let's see. I get it now. I didn't click size full
You
screen.
didn't set it to
So
full screen.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was a mistake.
that makes it a lot. Well, it's not a mistake. It's a choice. You can record just part of the screen if you want to, but usually you don't want to.
Okay, but once again, I click on the screen and canvas disappeared. Would you like me to share?
Yeah, why don't you? Just a second. Let me kill my screen share.
Mhm.
And you can, I've got it set so you can share your screen as well.
Okay. Here it is. You can see now, right?
Yeah,
See,
perfect.
this is record, right? I'm going back to let me just move a little bit this part. I'm going back to Canvas. And I would like to record, let's say, my course kind of page. Doesn't matter. Let's say this one. Yes. So where is the modules? Now I click on the, can you see the canvas now, right? Can you see the
sorry?
canvas page? Can you see the
Yes.
canvas page? You see.
Yes,
So
I see your canvas page.
on the bottom right next to my browsers, I see this kind of frame and I click on this frame. Look at, can you see the canvas disappear?
Yeah, and it came back to the previous.
That's right. It's what I'm
Because
talking
the
about here.
screen recorder was already running. So what you want to do is start the screen recorder.
Okay. Oops.
Let's see. Well, let's go back. Actually, just go back and click on the
Record?
yeah. And now you should be able, once this is started, you should be able to bring up a different window.
Okay, I click on rec, and I still be on the presentation.
Right. But oh, it wants to. You do have to set in your Mac security settings. You do have to give the Canvas Studio screen recorder access to the camera, to the microphone, and other
Yeah.
things as well. So yeah,
So,
be sure
click
to
on this.
check screen recorder launcher there.
Okay, that's it, right? I can close, right? Or do I need to click unlock?
Click the lock to make changes. It won't let you make a change, and then it's going to make you enter your password before it's going to let you change that.
Okay.
Okay. Fortunately, we can't see your password, so
Unlock.
you have to unlock it. Now check screen recorder launcher and quit and reopen. You should only have to do that once.
Okay. Actually, I did it. I had this when I considered to the situation earlier. Well,
Okay, now let's try
now
recording this again.
the screen is
You've
not
got to go
available.
to Canvas Studio to start the recorder, is the trick.
Okay.
Oh, actually, you're recording right now. You are still recording, and you're changing screens.
Actually, I don't, because it's disappeared somewhere somehow.
Oh no, it's I see it.
Oh, you see that? Oh,
Yeah,
so
I see it in the
interesting.
lower left-hand corner.
Oh,
It's there.
lower left. And why I don't? Interesting.
That's the problem. It's hiding it from you. You don't want to try to open this a second time because you've got a recording running. So just cancel there at the top.
Okay, cancel.
Yeah, and close that, or cancel again. Cancel that window.
This one. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. But you are recording. Look on your ribbon and look for that little dotted square.
Yeah, I'm looking, but I
don't see
I
it.
don't see that. Can you see what do I have? Where's my browsers? Can you see the lower part?
Uh-huh, I can.
And I don't see that.
I don't see that either. So
Yeah,
I
like
don't know why you're not seeing that. You're not seeing the pause button in the lower left-hand corner of the screen.
I
And
don't
I
see that.
am. That's curious.
Thing. Maybe stop share and share back again.
Try it again, yeah.
Stop share and share.
Well, you look before you share and see if you can.
That's right. Good idea. I don't have it. It's interesting.
That's weird. So it's showing it to me, but not to you.
That's right.
Yeah. This is just one of the idiosyncrasies. Let's try starting the recording all over again.
Okay.
Go back and cancel the screen recorder.
Okay,
That's
so
good. The thing is, it's finding it is the trick.
Go back to studio. Oops, I actually used together, but it's okay. I record screen capture.
Thing is, it's still running. I can see it running.
It's so weird.
I don't think that's mine. Let me make sure I'm not seeing mine. Oh, I was.
It's yours.
That was mine, not yours.
Okay.
That was, sorry, my bad. Okay, now try again. Just
Start again. Record.
Michio, thanks so much for coming.
Nothing happened.
I've got some questions.
Great.
I'm sorry, but
I'm not going anywhere.
okay. I was on with Tilly from the VP office. She called and I had to leave. I mean, I kept you on, but I had to walk out.
I understand.
I'm so
Trust
sorry.
me.
No, but why? I mean, it was good, but too much to do, right? Just too
Right.
much to do.
Okay, here we are again. Now,
Okay.
before you hit the record button,
Mhm.
try changing the,
Screen, right?
yeah, open up a different window.
Open the
Bring up
canvas.
a different window.
Okay, and
Doesn't matter which one.
okay,
Yeah, you can just navigate to whatever you want to.
okay, quick. Give me a sec. Okay, I'm here. Once again, I'm
Now we got to find the recorder again, which
is here.
there it is. There it is. That's it.
Okay, I click on
You
record,
click on that.
and
Why
this
does
the
it take
canvas.
you back to here?
Yeah, the canvas disappear. So let me show you one trick, and I come to that idea, but I think it's looks kind of weird. So I will minimize the screen. See, I minimize the screen. Now I stay on canvas, right?
Ah.
Oh my goodness, I disappeared. But I wouldn't like, I would like record the full screen, right? Not partially. See what I did?
I hear you. I hear you.
I
What
did it.
happens if you now full
See what I
screen?
do? Can you see? No, I just manually,
Just
right?
manually drag.
Yes, manually it's stopped. But anyway, you understand the idea. I manually increase the
I see
screen.
what you're doing. Yeah.
And from here, it will let me to record what is here.
Yeah. What I don't understand is why it's making you do that.
Yes, me too. It looks kind of strange. I don't know. Okay, I wouldn't like take
I'll
time
tinker
because
around with that a little bit and see if I can get it to do that to me, and maybe that will inform me of why this is torturing you this way.
Mhm.
I do have a quick suggestion
Okay,
on how to avoid this problem.
okay, I'm listening.
Don't use the
Studio.
Canvas Studio screen recorder.
Mhm.
The one in Clipchamp is
Yes.
actually quite superior.
Mhm. Okay.
And you don't even have to install it on your computer. You just bring it up in Chrome or any web browser. Click on record. I'm not sharing this with you. Excuse me. Let me remedy that here momentarily. Let me share my screen. Okay, now we're seeing my screen. If I go to Clipchamp, yep, I record and create screen recording.
Mhm.
I will end up with a little bit of Clipchamp in the view, but I just click record. If you have multiple screens, you can pick which screen to record, but let's say you just have the one screen.
Mhm.
You just select that, click share. Now you're recording. Now you can change this to anything you like and it will record whatever you pull up on the screen. Check, 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 check. Sound check. When you're done, you have this little button down here that says stop sharing.
Click share. Now you're recording.
Then it's
can
playing
change
it.
this to anything you like and it will record whatever you pull up on the screen.
If I go back to
Check,
Clipchamp,
check, check, check. Sound check.
it's
When
giving me a
you're
preview
done,
of what I recorded. I just click save and edit. Save this to my hard drive wherever I wish. I put it in videos and I have a Clipchamp folder I just put it in, but you just put it wherever's handy for you.
Mhm.
Save this video that I just recorded to my hard drive, and now it's in my Clipchamp project. I had one started, so let me get rid of that. This is trying to get rid of that one. Well, Here's the little recording I just made. It's a very small recording. But it's already on my timeline. Ah. Shoot. There we go. There it is. This is happening because of the,
Because small.
it's so small, and I had Clipchamp already open.
Uh-huh.
I had a project already open. I shouldn't have done that.
Uh-huh.
But otherwise the video would just appear here. You can clip off pieces of it that you don't want and export it to your local hard drive and to and you can make it up to high definition video, and you can send it right to YouTube. This is, or you can just take the local file
Mm-hmm.
created. It's rendering that entire Zoom recording. That's why it's going so slow. But you can then just take the local file and upload it to Canvas Studio manually.
Mm-hmm.
It is much less problematic than the screen recorder in Canvas Studio. If you want to see a more understandable presentation of that, just pull up this video, editing video with Clipchamp,
Mm-hmm.
our on-demand site, and this will show you the Clipchamp process in 22 and a half minutes.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
It is on Canvas, right?
This is on our Open On Demand site
Uh-huh. Okay. See
at
that.
SDCCD. Sorry about that. Pause that. Just go to sdccdolvid.org
Uh-huh.
and search for Clipchamp.
Okay.
And it's this video, editing video with Clipchamp, and that'll take you through. This, the longer one, shows you the recording process as well. This just shows the editing.
Mm-hmm.
But this will show you the entire thing. I don't know if I've put a table of contents on that yet or not. I have not. Shoot. I need to do that today. I'll see if I can get that in there so that you don't have to search through the entire or scrub back and forth through the entire 2 hours to find the section on how to run the and use the screen recorder. But quite frankly, it's much easier to use, and it gives every bit even better quality than the one in Canvas Studio, which is not my favorite one.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a suggestion. Or you can utilize the workaround you figured out, which is just to manually expand the
Screen.
window to where it's full
Mhm.
screen before you start the recording.
I will
You
try.
really shouldn't have to do that. I don't know why that's happening. I'm going to see if
Right.
I can get that to happen to me, and if I can, I'll send you a little video showing what I found out and how to
Thank you,
avoid it.
Dave.
Okay?
Thank you very much. Yes, I definitely will go to watch that video.
Yeah, I try the Clipchamp. I think you'll like it better.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, it's free. If you
Yeah,
have any
so
trouble getting it set up, let me know.
it says premium. What premium gives? Addition?
Premium allows you to store your video files online in the cloud, the Microsoft cloud.
Ah, I see.
And
Okay.
I prefer not to do that anyway. So
Yeah, I agree.
premium doesn't really give you much in the way of capability that you don't have in the free version of it, and you pay quite a bit for it. I think it's $10 or more a month, and it's just not worth that to me.
I see.
I use it. It does everything I need to do in the free version. I mean, if I thought I needed it, I'd buy it because I think it's a great tool, but there's no need. It works fine. The free version works fine for me.
Because I would like everything premium, but not in this case.
You get a couple of extra capabilities, but they're not really, I don't find them particularly needful. I probably wouldn't use the extra capability anyway. And I want to keep my files on my local computer because I want to keep control over them, and the performance is better on the editor if the files are stored locally as opposed to being stored in the cloud, and everything has to go back and forth across the internet. So it's I don't see the reason to pay for it, though I'm sure they'd like you to. And at some point they may make it, they may require you to pay for it to use it at all, but they haven't done that yet.
Thank you so much.
All right, well, great question, and I will see if I can get that behavior that you showed me to happen on my Mac and see if there's some way to prevent it from doing that.
Okay, I will waiting
I'm
for
curious because this thing, I mean, it's our ethos is that we don't put anything out there if we can possibly avoid it that won't work on either a PC or a Mac, because we know we have a lot of people using both platforms. So we hate to recommend anything that doesn't work equally well on the two platforms within reason, and that's a pain. And I haven't used that Canvas Studio screen recorder that much on the Mac, so I'm going to need to try that out and see. So thanks for giving me some purpose in life there.
You're very welcome.
Okay. All right. We've got some more questions. I'm going to stay around and answer questions as long as you have them. I'll worry about the other meeting later.
Dave, I'm leaving for another
Hi,
meeting.
Leah. So
Bye,
enjoyed
Leah.
it.
Bye, Kim.
Bye. Thank you. I learned too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Good.
that it was helpful.
Well, Kim,
Thank
how
you.
can I help you?
Okay, so the first thing, Dave, that I need to I think I have like 4 things now that have been on. First thing is that I need to put on an invitation for orientation on the website, and every time I go to get the invitation, it won't let me just put an open invitation like every Monday. Like I want it on the web page for cosmetology. It's got orientation, virtual orientation, and then I'm going to put the Zoom link. So when I
Right.
went in to do it, I can't for the life of me find out where it can just be every Monday an open Zoom number. What am I
Okay.
doing?
Now,
Okay.
this is on your cosmetology website, you're saying?
Yes, I want to
Which
put
is-
that. I want to put that open invitation Zoom link for every Monday at.
Oh,
Yes.
boy.
Okay, so what am I going to do?
Well, this is the website that's in the district
That's right.
infrastructure,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh boy, I'm sorry that I have no access to that and no knowledge of it.
But
So-
if I go, that's okay. But so when I go into my Zoom account
Right.
and I Zoom with my kids, for on campus and la la la. So if I
Exactly.
go into that, do you think that then, excuse me, I just use my regular access Zoom number and repeatedly just make a Zoom for each one of those each one of those Mondays, so that when they pop on it, then I'm going to be there. Is that how I would do it?
That's probably the safest way to do it, yeah.
Okay, like just before
And
the Zoom,
when you
make sure that
when you schedule Zoom meetings, there is a tool that will allow you to schedule Zoom meetings, recurring meetings.
Oh no, that's exactly what I need, because these kids are
Oh, okay.
at home
me
and
show you
everything. Who
that.
knows? Okay, that's what
me
I
show
need, and I can't find it.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's
Okay.
go to the Zoom website. Let me find that.
Okay.
Got that here somewhere.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Okay, here we go. I go to the meetings tab
good. Okay, so meetings.
and I've got schedule a meeting over here on the right.
Yeah, good. Schedule meeting. Yep.
And I'm just going to leave it. I'll start today.
Yeah,
You said
good.
you're familiar with this.
Yes, very
All
much. And
right.
I kind of was
If
on it for
it's
25 minutes going, what am I can't find the place. Okay.
in order to schedule more than one meeting at regular intervals, you check this box here that says recurring meeting.
How come I didn't see that? Probably didn't have my glasses on, or I looked right over it. Because if that's what it is, it was right there with, and I
Okay.
didn't see
You
it.
do have an SDCCD Zoom account, right?
Yeah,
And that's what you're using.
I think I am.
Should have this box. If you don't see this option, let me know. And we'll see if we can.
Well, I'm
Why?
assuming that's the one that I've got that I'm using. If I go, my laptop here that I have is from our IT department. It's got a Zoom icon on it. When I hit the Zoom icon on it, it tells me to put in my password and everything, my SDC. I do, and so then I'm on Zoom, and then I tried to do it. Do you want me to try to do it?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and try that?
Okay, let's see here.
See if you see that recurring meeting box.
So I'm just gonna, what am I gonna do with you? How am I gonna get out of here? No, I don't wanna
I'll
leave
just
you.
kill my share. There, that's
Okay, there. Okay, good. So now if you're there, where am I gonna go to get out of my screen?
you can minimize your Zoom screen. Just click
No,
Zoom minimize.
again.
Try pressing the escape key on your keyboard. That should.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So
All right,
now
there
let's
you
go. Here we go. Can you see my screen?
No, but you can share it if you like.
I would. Okay, so hold on. Let me go back. Hold on.
Bring Zoom back up and click the green.
Okay, bring
button
Zoom
down
up. Zoom. This is your Zoom. Oh, it's not letting me because.
Well, but you can.
Oh, wait, here it is.
Share
Okay,
your
got it.
screen.
Yeah, I got you. Launch a meeting. Now let me share my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you at? No, you're on with me. I can't.
Do you not see the share screen button at the bottom of the screen?
Yes, I see it. Okay, so I
Go
got
ahead
it.
and
Okay,
click
okay,
that.
okay. Yeah, I'm just.
It's going to share your screen, not mine. So.
Good. Okay, so there. Let me go to this. Share.
There you go.
Okay, good.
All
Okay,
right,
so now
I
let
see
me.
your Zoom
Cool.
announcement in.
Okay, so now I'm out of there, and let me go to my Zoom.
Go to your Zoom website.
Zoom website. Okay, here's my Zoom icon. You can see it, I'm sure. Can you see it?
No, I am seeing
Why?
your.
Stop sharing.
Maybe you may have shared the application instead of your desktop.
Yeah. So let me go this way.
Don't worry about sharing it so much. Just go ahead and bring up your meeting scheduling screen and see if you see. Now I'm getting the same thing again here. If you see where it says launch meeting, Zoom, and so on.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, you can just add a tab to that browser and window and bring up your Zoom website.
Okay.
Okay, you don't want to go through the icon probably on the desktop.
Okay. All right. So let me just go ahead and I'm gonna escape you for a second, Dave, and see. Okay.
And so,
I'm sure that's the easy. That's probably not even going to be my most. Okay, so now let me go here. Go here. Okay, so I'm gonna to meetings and I'm gonna do upcoming meetings,
You should see
recurring
a
meeting.
schedule.
Oh, yeah, it's already got reoccurring meetings. And I did do it, then,
Okay, great.
but I don't, I can open it and it didn't show me that it was gonna reoccur. I didn't know that it would be a reoccurring meeting. So, whatever.
Well, that's a choice you have to make when you schedule a meeting, when you
Right,
create.
and it says reoccurring, so I must have did it right. By doing
You
that.
have the option to have it occur daily, weekly, monthly, or at random times.
Okay,
You
so,
can repeat it every day, every third day, every fourth day, every seventh day. You can set an end date beyond which you don't want any more recurring meetings and so on. And
all
that's
right.
under the
So
recurring meeting.
that one's easy. That's my easy question.
Very good.
Okay, so my next question would be, is that, how did you get your background to be that you're little in the corner?
Uh,
Because I might want that, when I'm doing Zoom and the orientation slides are coming up.
I hear you. That's a nice thing to be able to do, but it requires a piece of software called Open Broadcaster Studio. That's what it looks like.
Open.
Broadcaster Studio, OBS for short.
Oh, okay, OBS, okay.
It also requires a green screen,
Okay,
which is not a big deal. You can buy a green screen for $10 on Amazon.
okay, so green screen, so I need to go get a green screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to have what OBS is doing is I'm feeding it two video feeds, one from my camera, my webcam, and the other from my monitor. So it's seeing one of my screens and me, with me over top of the screen.
Oh,
Keyed,
special
it's a,
effect.
yeah, and I can make myself bigger, smaller. I can move myself around.
Okay, so this is
All
high
that's done
tech.
through OBS.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of
Yeah,
a
high tech.
different. It's another learning curve.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
sorry.
not difficult, and I periodically do professional development sessions on how to do what you're looking at right now with OBS. I don't have one scheduled this month, but I will schedule one undoubtedly for November.
Okay,
But we do have recordings, numerous recordings online
okay,
on our Open On Demand site.
okay.
That
Okay.
is, let's see, I'm still sharing this. Oops, that's not it. There we go. If you first go into the site,
Okay.
you see this little slideshow at the top.
Am I seeing you? I don't see your your
You're
screen.
not seeing.
No.
Oh, you're
I'm
not.
seeing-
I'm sorry. I'm sharing.
That's okay. You're all good.
Sharing the wrong screen. My
Yeah,
bad.
that's totally okay.
Just a second. I can fix that.
Okay.
Let me pull that back up over here. Put that over there. All right. There's the. If you
Okay.
enter this site,
Great.
tap home. You
Okay.
get the slideshow here.
Yes.
Okay, you see in the slideshow, it takes a little while. Actually, I just paused it, but this is the one you want. It's the
Okay.
fifth one in the slideshow using Open Broadcaster Software Studio.
Okay.
If you click on the name there, this is a series of tutorials to
Okay.
show you how to get and install OBS, how
Okay.
to configure it, and how to use it. And how to use it with Zoom. Each
Okay.
one of those tutorials varies from about 5 minutes to about 20 minutes.
Lovely.
And if you go through those in order, it will take you by the hand, and you should be able to install OBS, and it works equally well on a PC or a Mac. It's not as simple as using Zoom.
No, but you're adorable on it and it's perfect. And Like, it's great. It's like
Well, it's
having,
not magic. It can't do that. It can't
I
make me
know, well,
adorable.
let me tell
But
you,
it
it's
can.
great. It is. When you said that in the beginning and when you first opened up, your little opening thing, Zoom is, pretty close to being right there. Well, the way you have it set up, it is
And
like this. It is. Yeah.
it works very
Very
nicely.
well.
It allows you to maintain, personal contact with your students
Yeah.
at the same time you're showing them things in Zoom.
Lovely.
And I think it's worth learning to do.
Okay.
OBS, by the way, is completely free.
Okay.
None of this costs any money. So if you're
Is it,
willing to put in 2 or 3 hours of time and
Yeah.
tinker with it, you can get it to work. And I'll be happy to help.
thanks, Dave.
All
Thank
right.
you.
If you have,
Okay.
when you have questions, just email me. We can
Okay.
get together on Zoom and work past any roadblocks that you run into. There's a lot of moving parts to this, so it takes a
Okay.
little.
Yeah, it's going to take a while. So I don't know.
Well,
We'll
it
see about
doesn't
that.
take that much time if you have somebody to help you.
Yeah.
If you have to learn it yourself, it takes a while.
Yeah, it takes a while.
I can testify to that.
Yeah. So
Uh,
then, so I'm just gonna run this past you. So
Sure.
what I'm gonna do, instead of going in and having students come every week from 10 to 12, see the same old poop on the screen, is right, which again, our kids want more virtual. And
I hear
so
that.
I made this really nice PowerPoint. It goes through everything. It's about 25 slides. It'll also be on our webpage, but so that anybody can see it anyway.
Excellent.
But I'll have it as my tool when I do a virtual orientation. And then I'll just actually have that up on this. Well, I guess it'll be in the background, or they can't see me anymore. I'll share the screen with my PowerPoint until
Well,
that.
actually, if they get to choose what they see, they
Oh.
can see you.
Okay.
When you share your screen, your little thumbnail is up in the right-hand corner by default, so they can see you and the screen that you're sharing at the same time. But they can alter that. They can turn you off, or they can leave you there, or they can choose several different viewing modes on their own end. So they get to decide how you appear, and we have a tutorial for that as well.
Oh, goody. Okay.
It's called View Options
Okay.
in Zoom.
View
Options.
options.
And here's the tutorial using the Zoom View Options menu when the host is screen sharing.
Lovely.
And this will show them how to govern what they see while you're sharing your screen. And let me
Okay.
put that link
Okay, great.
in
Thank
the
you.
chat tool for you.
Okay. Yeah, because that's
There
gonna
it
be, okay, so let me go ahead and take a picture of that real quick here. And
Well,
then,
you probably, if I can suggest, you might want to just click on it and have it open that up in a browser, and then bookmark that later, because
yeah,
trying
there
to
you go, I
type
got it.
trying to type that URL would be extremely tedious.
Right,
Too long.
right. That's so cool. Got it. Yeah, there you go. All right, it's done.
Outstanding.
All
Okay,
right,
so
we got that.
they
Mhm.
will see you, in other words, when you share your screen in
Right. Oh,
most
lovely.
cases.
Okay. Let me go back. I got you off the screen. I don't know what I did here, so let me go back to, there you are. Okay, so then my next question, so that you can be done and have your cocktail hour, because Idaho is, you are 2 hours.
No,
2 or
I'm
3.
same time zone you are.
Oh, it's not cocktail hour yet. But lunch,
Not yet.
but lunch. There we go. Okay, so the only other thing, caption video. Okay, the captioning of the video. Do I need that then if I'm gonna, do I need that?
Yes.
Okay, I do need
There's
it.
only
Yeah,
one
right?
circumstance in which you might not need to caption a video, and that's if
Okay.
you're going to share it with just one person and you know that person is not hearing impaired. And that's a
Right,
very unusual circumstance. So you
right.
must, yes,
Love it. Okay, I'm so glad. Oh my gosh, that in itself for today's visit with you was worth millions of dollars because I forgot about that. So, and
yeah,
doing that, then
yeah, you don't want to get caught in that wicket.
no, yeah, right? So that would be that I'd either go Zoom Caption Cloud or and that's, or you said the Canvas Studio
You
Caption.
can, yeah, you can get it captioned in any number of ways. If you record to the Zoom cloud, it will automatically be captioned.
I'm gonna do it. So with that being said, then I should do a recording myself.
Yeah.
Myself before I even put it on and get a cap. So I pretend like I'm doing a
Well,
Zoom.
oh, if you need live captions,
Yes.
okay,
Well,
you have those
again,
in Zoom
both.
too.
Yeah. Well, both. I mean, well, here's the thing
Yeah,
is
you
if
might
I-
want, indeed, you want both. You
Right.
probably want the live captions in the live meeting turned on, and then when you put the recording online, you want that to be captioned too.
Sure. And I probably could
We've
go through
already
VSTS,
seen
but-
how to get the recording caption. You just upload it. You just record to the cloud, or you record locally and you upload the video file to YouTube or to Canvas Studio, where it will be captioned.
Lovely. Okay.
Turn
Well,
your live captions on, which I
Yes.
didn't do today because I forgot.
No, well, but I'll
me.
try to remember. Okay.
But let me share my Zoom screen one more
Okay.
time with you, so you can see how to do that. Here's
Okay.
my Zoom host menu here down at the bottom of the screen,
Yes.
and the option for captions is right here. This little show
Okay.
captions.
Yeah.
Just click on that CC symbol, and
Okay.
let's see. Had I already turned those on? Let me turn that off. Huh. I'll be darned. They've changed that. That's
Oh,
they apparently those are available automatically now. You
so
can't
it's gonna
go-
cap, but we didn't see it. We didn't see it on
well,
your
you
caption.
you can turn them on yourself
Oh,
by
for somebody that
selecting
needs it.
show captions.
Got it. So somebody that needed it would put it on.
So anybody who needed it had access to it.
Yeah,
That's
right.
new.
They would use it.
That
Yep.
just
And if they-
changed. I'll be darned.
Wow. This
You
is
learn something
totally
new every day.
cool.
Okay, and you can turn those on and off.
Okay.
And
Lovely, Dave. Wow. Okay.
so
Let's-
your students, it looks like it's set to turn on captions automatically now because I never turned them on. I forgot to.
Well, I
Used to
guess,
be
and
the host
nobody
had
would,
to activate it, but now apparently it's activated automatically for
right. and-
anyone who
right.
wants it. So
Anybody
Right.
that wants it can use it then. Very good. Okay. And those people know then that they would be looking for that.
they would be looking for
Okay, okay, good. So we got that Zoom record button icon. Let's say the other caption video, open invitation every Monday, what your face. We're done.
that everything you needed.
That's it.
Well, if you
Yeah.
think of something else, just email me.
Yeah, okay.
Delighted to hear from you.
Thank you so much, Dave. It's been a
Thank you
pleasure.
for coming, and thanks for all the good questions.
Yeah, too much, but anyway, I
Not at all.
appreciate you.
That's the best
Okay.
part of it.
Thank
You
you.
take
Have a
care.
good day. Okay, bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.